Okay, you're now live, Chair.
Lovely. Good evening, members. I'm Councillor Rob Baker, Vice Chair of this committee. Just like to inform everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet via the Council's website and will be capable of repeated viewing. The images and sound recording may be used for training purposes within the Council. In order to ensure that the meeting is managed effectively, can everyone please keep to the following guidelines when speaking? Councillors should only I'll say that bit again. Councillors should only use the raise your hand function to request to speak and only speak when invited to do so by myself. Please switch off your camera and microphone when not speaking, and remember to set your mobile phone to silent for the duration of the meeting. Any views expressed by any speaker in this meeting are the speaker's own, and they do not necessarily reflect the views of the Council. Please can councillors be aware that the webcast will continue to be streamed live 20 seconds after the close of the meeting. This is due to a time delay in transmitting live. I'll now confirm the other names of the members of this committee: Councillor Benzer, Councillor Capper, Councillor Dupee, Councillor Evans, Councillor Gardner, Councillor Hacking, Councillor Hardy, Councillor Huddleston, Councillor Kirkham, Councillor McEwen, and Councillor Roberts. And the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence, please.
Yes, Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Hacking and Councillor Benzer.
Thank you, Kerry. Do we have any other apologies that anyone's aware of? No? Okay, so we will move to agenda item 2, to receive disclosures of interest in any matters before the committee. So are there any disclosable pecuniary interests or other interests, please? I'll take that as a no. Thank you very much. Agenda item 3, to approve the minutes of the previous meetings, which is pages 3 and 4 in your report pack. Could I have a proposer and seconder, please, unless anyone has any amendments? Thank you, Sally, and thank you, Bob. I think we can take those as approved. Okay, moving swiftly along to agenda item 4, which is the pavement license policy, permission to consult, which is pages 5 to 18 in your packs. And I believe Alicia is going to take us through the salient points, please.
No problem. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. So first report tonight is the draft pavement licence policy. Reason for the report is that for the committee to consider the contents of the draft pavement licensing policy attached at Appendix 1 and the proposals for consultation contained within the report. Recommendation tonight is that committee approves the draft pavement licence policy attached and Appendix 1 for consultation. Background to the pavement licence policy: on the 31st of March 2024, the new permanent pavement licensing regime came into effect nationwide under the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act 2023. This legislation replaced the temporary national measures that were established during COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to this, pavement licences were controlled locally, with responsibilities split between the Highways Authority and the district and borough councils, where local agreements had been made. Locally, pavement licences within the High Peak were granted by the council operating under an agency agreement from Derbyshire County Council. With the introduction of the new regime, however, it's no longer possible to issue licences under the old powers. So this report does detail the transitional arrangements and proposals. Included, as I've said, draft policy Appendix 1 to support the delivery and legislative requirements in the district. It is proposed that a consultation exercise be undertaken on the draft policy in August and September for a period of 6 weeks. The consultation responses will be presented to the committee in October 2026 for a further opportunity to review the policy and then recommend to full council for adoption in December 2025. Thank you, Chair. Happy for any questions.
Thank you, Alicia. Could you perhaps just tell us a little bit about how LGR may affect this policy going forward and what the process may be, and then I'll come to you, Bob, next.
Yeah, so absolutely. So the reason for presenting the policy today is really to bring together the legislation and ensure that we've got a regulatory platform moving forward, certainly up to LGR, but also beyond that. Institute of Licensing have published some guidance in the last few days to advise that their interpretation is after vesting day that policies will remain for a period of up to 2 years. for the new authority to have a look at all of the policies with all the local authorities. So it is important that we keep our policies up to date, that we've got a transparent platform for our licensees to work with, and that we can take appropriate enforcement action as well, where we do have problematic issues where potentially some people won't apply for the licenses. So it just allows us that robust policy that we can present, you know, if we need to go further with any of the premises.
Okay, thanks very much. That's a very succinct answer. Thank you. Councillor McEwen, please. You're muted, Bob.
That's better. Sorry, just two quick comments. One, especially after the COVID and everything, I'd just like to thank Sandra Badbury for the work what she's done with these pavement licenses, especially to smaller premises. I go in a number of coffee shops in Glossop, and one name always comes out praising the council, which is quite nice in view of all the aggro we've had recently. And the other one is, just out of curiosity, could you find out for me sometime if Costa Coffee has got a pavement licence?
Okay, Sandra, do we know offhand?
Costa Coffee and Glossop haven't currently got one, but they have been visited in regards to submitting an application.
Thanks. It's just that for over 20 years I've been going on because they're a big chain, and I thought, even that's the chief exec and everything, this was 20 years ago. I said, when it was passed at the planning and everything, there was nothing for outside. And have they got a licence? And nobody had answered me. That's the first time in 20 years I've had a proper answer. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor McEwen.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Thanks for your question. Does anyone else have any questions in relation to this agenda item, please? Bob, you put your hand up again. And you're muted.
It's gone off now. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Not to worry. Okay, I'll take that then that we're moving to the next agenda item item 5, the licensing policy, which again is out for permission to consult, pages 19 to 15 in your report back. So Alicia, if you're going to take us through this one again, please.
Absolutely, thank you, Chair. So second report for this evening is licensing policy, permission to consult. Reason for the report is to carry out a consultation to review the council's licensing policy. Recommendation is that committee approve the draft licensing policy 2026 to 2031 attached at Appendix 1 for consultation. All licensing authorities are required to publish a licensing policy in respect of their activities relating to licensed premises and the sale of alcohol and other licensable activity, setting out measures by which applications for licenses will be considered. The last policy was published in 2021, and it is a requirement all authorities review their licensing policy every 5 years. The policy is therefore now due for review, and the updated draft policy has been produced. The policy is subject to an internal and external consultation exercise, which is proposed to be carried out in August and September. Once the consultation exercise has been completed, the comments and the revised policy will be presented again to Licensing Committee in October for any further amendments and recommendations, and for full council approval in December. As I've said, the licensing policy is attached at 2026-2031 at Appendix 1, and the proposed amendments are also noted for consideration. Happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thanks, Alicia. Do we have any questions on this? Councillor Evans, please.
Yes, thank you. It is kind of in the same vein, really, as your point on the last item, Chair. It's as we well know, licensed premises and other hospitality businesses are suffering at the moment from a variety of factors. And what this is likely to mean is, are there any implications on this that will cause them difficulty on a change of a policy now and then when LGR comes out and all of these things? Or is this simply just an updating the dates kind of thing, really? Because is this likely to be whatever the successor body is, as the licensing authority is likely to lean heavily on exactly the same policy?
Yes, absolutely. Councillor Evans, it is just an update really around legislation. We have sought throughout the policy to make it clearer actually for licensees, you know, so that again, we've got a clear regulatory platform for them. So absolutely, it's just an update. We are required by law. If we don't update our policies, then the authority could face a challenge, which we don't want. So we need to ensure that the policies remain the same and we move forward with our updates until vesting day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McEwen, please.
Yeah, just a comment again. Many years ago, when this type of thing first started, we had quite a debate and a couple of licensing panels on people who wanted to sell alcohol and deliver it to the door. We went through all the obvious things about people being of age and where was the point of sale and this, that and the other. But just interesting, on the news last week, there was a couple of councils in serious trouble because they hadn't been adhering to the thing, and they've been actually going to the houses where there was parties going on. The alcohol had already been paid for beforehand, and they were just leaving it on the premises, and somebody actually died. And I'm just pleased that, you know, we did it proper a few years ago. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Are there any other questions on this? I mean, I think we can all appreciate that the bigger piece of work around this will be at the meeting in October, won't it? When we've got the results of the consultation to consider. But any other points before we move on? No, okie doke. So we are on to our final agenda item, which is just the enforcement update, please, which is pages 51 to 54 in your report pack. Thank you. Who's going to take us through this?
I'll do that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, item third report is to update members in relation to the enforcement activity undertaken within the licensing section in the period since the last meeting of the committee. And the recommendation is that committee note the contents of the report this evening. So in the period of February to June, licensing service has engaged in several enforcement actions. These activities have involved reactive responses to complaints and intelligence received from the public and partner agencies, as well as proactive compliance checks. It is pleasing to report that the licensing section has noted good level of compliance overall applicable to the legislation. Officers do seek to encourage licence holders to conduct their activities in a safe manner and maintain good standards to comply with the law. Officers must exercise considerable discretion when approaching individual licence holders, as licensees can often be anxious to comply with the law, and for such cases, the officer's role will be to provide guidance and advice. However, in carrying out their duties and functions, authorised officers do have a wide range of powers and may, for example, require entry at all reasonable times or require the production of certain documentation. On inquiry, if officers do find evidence that the law is being broken and enforcement is required, they can respond in various ways. They may instruct or warn by letter, revoke or suspend a licence, and where the circumstances warrant it, they may formally caution or prosecute without prior warnings and without recourse to alternative sanctions. Officers will have due regard to the relevant enforcement policies when determining the most appropriate course of action. Below is a summary of enforcement activity carried out during this period, and the figures shown below include contact made with taxi drivers and operators in relation to renewal processes. Licences to drive hackney carriages and private hire vehicles need to be renewed annually or 3 yearly. The council sends one reminder out to our drivers 60 days before their licence is due to expire, advising of any additional checks such as DBS, medical assessments, MOT requirements, etc. So 3.4 shows the list there. You can see that we've had quite an increase in TENS, which is expected around this time of year really, and will continue now July, August, September, really for events that are coming up within the high peak area. Okay, in respect to the CCTV in taxis, the licensing team and myself as head of service are continuing to work with the local taxi drivers and operators in relation to introducing either a voluntary or mandatory CCTV in vehicles. To date, however, the council has not received sufficient evidence to adopt a mandatory scheme. However, further work is continuing with the police and other regulatory partners to establish where or if any issues are arising from the nighttime economy. The council officers continue to review the data protection issues which would arise from the introduction of this mandatory scheme. Apologies. Happy to take any questions, Chair.
Fantastic, thank you. That's a really good summary of the enforcement today. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, I was only going to ask about the higher number of 10s, but I think you've covered that just purely. It's just purely because it's summer, is it? I think there's no other. Yeah, that's fine. Lovely. Okay, unless anyone else has any burning issues they'd like to raise, I think we can probably close the meeting at this point. Yeah, thank you all for your attendance.
Okay.
Have a lovely evening. Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks very
Thank you,
much.
members.